Now I'm going to show you the last piece of the puzzle. And then we're going to go off and we're going to do a few exercises with this. Okay? Let's go back to our all positives. Def all positives of values. Uh, 1 minus 5, 0, 3. Right. I've typed it back incorrectly. We believe that's correct. Right? Result is empty, and then for each value, if it's greater than 0, append it. Okay? Let me rewrite this code. Def is positive of number. If number greater than 0, return true, else return false. I can simplify this, and I will in a moment. But for the moment, I believe that function tells me if a number is positive or not. Okay? So here, I could say if is positive, v, right? Instead of saying if v greater than 0, I've now moved that into a function. Right? I believe this should return the same result. Yep. Everybody happy with this code? Sort of, maybe? Anybody unhappy with this code? Okay. So, now I'm going to do the tricky bit. Select if values. Well, that's not very tricky. Select if values. Let me move test to the front. It'll make the things clearer. So, what did I just do? Well, instead of putting a call to is positive right there, I'm going to call the function test. There isn't actually a function whose name is test. It's coming in as a parameter. Functions are values. If I can put them in lists, I can pass them as arguments. Okay? If I can assign it to something else, I can assign it to a parameter. So down here, I'm calling select if with two arguments. The second one is values, and we understand that. That's a list of numbers. The first is a pointer to that function is positive. That becomes my test. So in here, I say if that test passes, append the value to result. It's exactly what I just had, except instead of hardwiring in the test, I'm now allowing you to say, I've got a function that knows how to test one number. I'm going to pass it to you. Please use that as your test to determine whether or not to put something in the results. Let's see if it works. It works. It does what it's supposed to. Why is this a beautiful thing? Def is negative of number. If number less than 0, return true, else return false. And now I can say print select if is negative of 1 minus 5, 0, 3. Instead of saying, I want you to apply this test to each of those numbers, and if the test passes, stick it in the result, I'm saying I want you to apply this test. This other function is negative to those numbers, and if the test passes. Inside select if, it doesn't know what the test is. It just knows that test is a function that will either return true or false. And if it returns true, we're supposed to keep the value, and if it returns false, we don't. Okay? So I just got rid of the code that was repeated in the example we had half an hour ago. Our original is positive and is in negative duplicated all of the looping and everything. The only thing that was different was right here. It's a bit where we said if v greater than 0 or if v less than 0. So those things, almost all of the stuff was the same. There was just that one character that was different. So now I've taken that out and said, you write me a function that does the test, if v greater than 0, if v less than 0, so that I've only got one copy of this code. Okay? So now, if I run this, yep, it's doing the right thing. The first output is select if with the test is positive. The second is select if with the test is negative. And now, if I want to filter these numbers some other way, I don't have to rewrite or copy these lines here. I just have to write one new test function. Def is really big of number. If number greater than 100, return true, else return false. Okay? So now I could print select if of is really big. Is that what I called it? Yes. Of 15, 25, 250, 750 minus 3. Call that. And yep, it is selecting the 250 and the 750. What I've done is given you a generic tool that knows how to filter a list of values. You give me a test function that can do thumbs up or thumbs down for an individual value, because that's the bit that changes from case to case. Do we want the positives, the negatives, the really bigs, the whatever it is, right? You give me that, the test, because that's the thing that varies. The code that knows how to go through the collection and check each one in turn, that doesn't change depending on the test. That stuff stays the same. So now there's only one copy of it and it stays the same. I only have to test it once. I only have to write it once. If I need to make a change, I make the change in one place.